What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Stellar Highway. My name is Motormind, and I'll be your host today. So, last week on New Comic Book Day, I couldn't find CODA number 2, something that I was really looking forward to. So, throughout the work week, I checked a few comic shops and finally ran across a single copy of this book, which is a shame because this is pretty good stuff. Sword and sorcery is not the first thing that comes to mind when you think of comic books, but it fits this medium really well, and I think that this is a unique sword and sorcery book in that it's really like a post-apocalypse sword and sorcery. I believe the official advertisements say this is like Mad Max meets Lord of the Rings or something like that. It doesn't quite give me so much Lord of the Rings, but it definitely has a Mad Max vibe. So anyways, CODA number 2. This is good. This was a good issue. Something bothered me about issue 1, and that's that it was very verbose. Throughout the issue, Hum, the hero of the story, hero in quotes, he's writing letters to his wife. So there's this sort of passive dialogue. He's not actually interacting or playing off of anybody through a big chunk of issue 1. In issue 2, we're introduced to somebody who can kind of match wits with him and he can play off of. And that makes this issue so much better. The first issue is good. This issue, I would say, is great. So, again, there's some nice stuff in here, where the people in the book may not be good guys by the strictest definition of the word, but they have some redeeming qualities. However, the plot is a little bit muddy for me, and I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know if this is a miniseries. I don't know how long they intend this to run. Everything I've read online, I've done a little research about the book. It seems like they're going all in on this thing. So, they just want this thing to run forever. They want this to be a big Boom Studios property. But, I'm going to take it in good faith that he has a pretty solid plot line lined out. Because right now, this giant fantasy world feels kind of small. But again, that's not really a knock. It's just sort of a cautious observation. So let's get to the book. Same great art, same unique art style, great cover here. If you've watched my review of issue number 1, then you're gonna know the progression of this. But if you haven't, go ahead and stop and watch my review of issue 1 right now, because there will be spoilers in this. So basically, issue number 2, great cover. Hum has found himself exiled from Ridgetown. If you're kind of just to catch you up really quickly, because it has been a number of weeks, at the end of the first issue, Hum found presumably the last living elf on the planet. And they were sort of milking it for magic. So it's sort of the elf is regenerating, so it's a terrible, terrible thing. They're just torturing this elf, the last of its kind, just as using it as a source for magic. It's like their magic well. But, so, Hum had put everybody in their night's watch, in their celebration. He had put them all to sleep with this spiked wine. He found the elf. Everybody woke up. They waylaid him. And then his pentacorn rather, Nag, just started destroying the town and going berserk. So he kind of talks his way out of it. He's like, hey, I'm the only one who can give it the hold. So, what do you say we trade my execution for my exile, and I'll take care of the pentacorn? So they agree to that, and they just sort of tie him to Nag, blindfold him, slap Nag's ass, and he's off across the wasteland. Luckily, he's able to find refuge in a cave, and the cave seems to be inhabited by this wizard. Only it doesn't look like a cave to Hum or the wizard. It's like the wizard is like an illusions master, and he's gone nuts. He's sort of like his mind has been broken by the apocalypse event. It's like he's just living in this sort of like Alzheimer-induced dementia type thing. And basically, the wizard makes the illusion of this great feast, and then he starts choking to death, which breaks the illusion. You can see in the lower left-hand corner here. If you're listening and not watching, you can see the illusion being dispelled, and Hum is like, what the heck is this? But clearly the dude is choking to death, so he tries to save him. Well, while he's trying to perform like the Heimlich maneuver, he gets an arrow in his false leg, and it turns out to be this girl. This girl's name is Notch. She's, a jester. She's dressed like a jester, and she's like, attacking him, thinking, he's trying to kill the old man. He like quickly explains, no, I'm saving his life. And he goes on to find out that the wizard is actually Notch's daughter, and she's been taking care of him, letting him live under the illusion that the world hasn't changed, that he's going to go on and become like the court spellcaster, the court wizard. So it's kind of a sweet thing, she pretends to be an adventurer, and drops by to say hi to him and everything. But she really runs with a gang, and it seems like, just like everybody else in this world, magic is the thing. Just like, this is where the Mad Max analogy fits really well. Magic is the gasoline, so everybody wants it, and nobody has it. And in Ridgetown, where they have that elf locked up, makes that extremely valuable. Now, the gang that Notch runs with is introduced at the end of the book. She kind of double-crosses Hum, but in the most pleasant way possible, and leaves him behind and hooks up with her gang. And it appears that the gang is headed towards Ridgetown to get the elf once and for all. And you can see this fantastic art here, this amazing... It's like a city being pulled by some kind of creature. Now, okay, this is where I get a little confused, right? I don't think this was intentional, but I think anybody would come to this conclusion. In issue 1, they looked off into the distance from the top of the Ridgetown Castle, and they saw Thundergog, the last giant. And the mayor of the town hinted that, by the full moon, Thundergog would be there and they would be destroyed, yada yada. Well, this thing is huge, massive, and it appears to be pulled by some kind of creature. It's sort of knuckle dragging. I don't know if that means it's not a giant or it's something else, because we don't get to see this rolling city, properly. From all angles, just this one angle here. But, are we already at the full moon? Is this... It felt like that would be the end boss, the final showdown. So I'm a little confused. Either the last giant is more giant than anyone could have imagined, or this wheeled city, just the perspective of it, you can see, and this is a kind of a cool design here, this lettering here, they've got these, the sound effects of the rolling town. It's called Thunder Vale, the wheeled city. You can see how huge this thing is. I can't see the Ridgetown defenses holding up against this thing at all. So, are we already at the end game? I'm not sure where this is going. But I like it. It's exciting. It's cool that they're throwing these constant threats at Ridgetown and just impeding Hum from getting to his goal. It works, it just seems a little muddy, it's like, I think it would be easy to assume that was the giant, but they would have said the wheeled city is coming, not just the giant is coming. But yeah, hey, it's a crazy fantasy world. Who knows what kind of critters are out there. In short, I love this thing. This comes as a high recommend. If you can find it, it doesn't seem like it's going to be real easy to find. So make sure you get a word in with your comic book shop or start digging around. I kind of just find my comics where I can while I'm on the road for work. That's part of the fun for me. It also means I kind of risk not being able to find stuff, but I drive so much every week, so many different places. it's unlikely that I'll strike out. So that's just a gamble that I've been taking. However, we are getting a comic shop in my town, so looking forward to that, and I'll probably start a pull list there for some of my books that I absolutely can't stomach missing. So, CODA, issue number 2. Did you read this? Were you able to find this? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments below. Just go ahead and comment on the tone, the setting of the story, what you think of the characters. I think this thing is pretty great. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time on the Stellar Highway.